Cynthia feeds hundreds of people every single night at Ambrosia, one of the most prestigious high-end restaurants in the city. Her culinary masterpieces make everyone else happy. The critics praise her, the elite applaud her. But behind the glittering plates and the prestige, inside her own chest, Cynthia is completely starving. For years, she has felt entirely invisible, unseen by her family, disconnected from her colleagues, and forgotten by the endless stream of strangers she serves. Her success is high, but her soul is completely empty. She believed no one would ever notice the hollow ache she carried. She thought she was destined to run on autopilot forever, until a cold, rainy evening on a quiet cafe step completely shattered her reality. Her hands still smelled faintly of basil and butter from the kitchen, and she stared down at the damp card. She raised an eyebrow, a cynical smirk threatening to form on her lips. She assumed it was just another clever, manipulative advertisement from a local business trying to be deep. She turned to walk away until she looked up and locked eyes with the man behind the counter. He wasn't looking at a customer. He was looking at her. Peter said, "I think you're looking for this more than you know." Cynthia froze on the steps. The words weren't a sales pitch. They weren't aggressive, threatening, or artificial. They carried a deep, calm certainty that made her stomach instantly tighten. She glanced at him closely, a man with kind, weathered eyes and a soft, patient smile. He looked at her as if he had been standing there all night, completely expecting her arrival. A sudden prick of raw curiosity struck her chest, a feeling of wonder she hadn't experienced in decades. Cynthia said, "You know me?" Peter said, "Not yet, but I see you." That simple, quiet statement made her heart stutter in her chest. No one had truly seen her in a very long time. Not the family who rejected her, not the colleagues who competed with her, and certainly not the faceless crowds who praised her talent but never cared about her heart. The space felt incredibly safe, almost as if it had been built and left waiting just for her to arrive. She sat down, but her guard remained up. Cynthia said, "I don't even know what I'm looking for." Peter said, "That's exactly why you're here." Peter said, "Let me show you something." He pointed directly to the timeless text, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." Peter said, "Exactly. That's the entire point, Cynthia. The things we give to this world, our time, our endless energy, our hard-earned talents, they can never fill our deepest spiritual hunger. We try to fill it with praise, awards, and work, but those things always leave us empty. There's something far greater, something eternal that can truly satisfy that ache. Why do you think you're still searching?" Cynthia stared at the printed words. In an instant, vivid images of her own chaotic restaurant kitchen flashed through her mind. The white flour dusting her apron, the rich chocolate melting in her palms, the delicate pastries glistening beautifully under the bright restaurant lights. The sheer irony of the moment hit her like a wave, forcing a bitter, breathless laugh from her throat. Cynthia said, "Bread of life? I bake bread every single day of my life. I feed thousands of people. I make them happy with what I create. And yet, I am still completely starving inside." For the very first time in her life, the impossible idea that she might actually be seen for who she was, not for what she could perform, bake, or achieve, felt like a real possibility. Cynthia said, in a soft, breaking whisper, "Why would God care about someone like me?" Peter said, gently, "Because he made you, and he loves you. Not because of what you can do for him or what you can achieve for the world, but simply because of who you are. Every hidden scar, every moment of deep loneliness, every silent ache you carry, he sees it all, Cynthia. And he looks at you right now and says, 'You are enough.'" The conversation was over, but the words hung heavy in the midnight air. Cynthia held the small flyer tight in her hand, her heart racing and her mind spinning with a chaotic tangle of deep doubt and newfound hope. She wanted to believe it, but the old wounds ran deep. Cynthia said, looking at Peter, almost pleading, "Did you really think God could care about someone like me? After everything? After all the isolation?" Peter, unwavering, calm. "He doesn't care about your fame, your culinary skill, or your worldly accomplishment, Cynthia. Those things fade. He cares about the sacred part of you that no one else on this earth can touch. He's just been waiting all this time for you to finally notice him." Peter didn't push. He didn't force a decision. He simply handed her a small, elegant card with the name of a local fellowship group and a single verse printed on the back. Peter said, "No pressure, just a safe place to explore if you ever feel ready." The crushing emptiness she had carried all her life, the sting of family rejection, the isolation hidden behind every award, trophy, and compliment, suddenly didn't feel like a life sentence anymore. It felt like an invitation. She walked into her dark apartment, stepped up to the massive window, and looked out at the twinkling Seattle skyline. She looked down at the golden flyer in her hand, small yet incredibly potent. A fragile, brand-new spark had been lit in her heart, and as she watched the city lights flicker under the blanket of night, a single whisper of hope finally broke through decades of silence. Cynthia, whispering to the dark sky, "Maybe I'm not as alone as I thought."